You like it? Wait for more. From the maestro William Cepeda. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you feel? Welcome to Jesus Obrero Cooperativa. Thank you for sharing with us on this site's visit that start the activities of the Inclusiv Annual Meeting 2022.
Hola, hola, buenos días.
Buenos días.
Oh, come on, guys, you can do better than that. Buenos días. Oh, now we're talking. First, an announcement. I have hotel room number 503. Someone missed it. All right, I have it here, so. Perfect. Well, I'm so inspired by what Yuderka mentioned, right? What is our business really? We think about. Our business is what? Money? No, it's people, right? And she really, her story really exemplifies that. It's about asset building in communities. And the Juntos Avanzamos framework really works everywhere. You know, when we were talking about Juntos with Aurelio months ago, years ago, you know, people would ask why? Why Puerto Rico? Everyone speaks Spanish there. Why do we need to have a Juntos Avanzamos designation here? And now you know, there's a huge population here, Dominicans, Haitians, that are outside the financial mainstream. That's the opportunity that we have, and that's the opportunity that Aurelio saw in this community. His wife is Dominican, so he has a personal reason as well, you know, to this community. But at the end of the day, it's our role and responsibility. We are a community development trade union, and as such, we are responsible to make sure that we provide solutions to everyone, not just to some. Our members are everyone around the credit union, and that's really where the opportunity and the obligation is. So, how many of you guys are Juntos Avanzamos designated? Let me see a show. Okay, Kathy, so you're gonna read that.
¿En español o en inglés? En inglés. Proclamation honoring Jesus Obrero Cooperativa. Whereas Jesus Obrero Cooperativa has embraced the credit union philosophy of people helping people by fostering a strong relationship with its Latino community, and whereas Jesus Obrero Cooperativa has compassionately responded to the needs of its Latino community, providing positive financial security and opportunity in all respects. And whereas Jesus Obrero Cooperativa is taking great strides in providing its underserved market with friendly and affordable financial services, and whereas Jesus Obrero Cooperativa is reaching out to a segment of the population to demonstrate the far-reaching personal and financial benefits of a relationship with a not-for-profit credit union, and whereas Jesus Obrero Cooperativa serves as an inspiration to all. Now therefore let it be known that Jesus Obrero Cooperativa has earned the prestigious distinction of being a Juntos Avanzamos credit union. Inclusiv, the Cornerstone Credit Union League, and the Asociación de Ejecutivas de Cooperativas de Puerto Rico recognize and applaud Jesus Obrero Cooperativa and proudly call you a Together We Advance, Juntos Avanzamos Credit Union.
¡Bravo!
Nací trovador y por el día del plan solo en el monte la gente hace que busqué. Cuántas veces yo jugué
subiéndome al broncello, conozco probar el fruto y al recordarlo disfruto de mi. Cuando esta gente buena, porque la sala está llena, y se lo está gozando. Que lo goce la gente, que rico caliente, para que lo goce la gente. Y me voy inspirando con toda la gente mía, usamos la patria mía, aquí lo que está sonando. Que rico caliente. Que lo goce la gente, este mi ritmo caliente, para que lo goce la gente, y toda la gente buena, que bailen estos confines, que vengan los bailarines, y que traigan tu pareja, este mi ritmo caliente, para que lo goce la gente, este mi ritmo caliente, para que lo goce la gente, come tu ritmo. Y yo sigo bailando, que me voy inspirando con este ritmo mío, este ritmo caliente, para que lo goce la gente, este ritmo caliente, para que lo goce la gente, este ritmo caliente, para que lo goce la gente, para que lo goce la gente, para que lo goce la gente. Para que lo goce la gente, vengo a cantar, para que lo goce la gente, oye, para que lo goce la gente, para que lo goce la gente, seguimos bailando, para que lo goce la gente, para que lo goce la gente, oye, salsita de la buena, que lo goce la gente, como decía, que lo goce la gente, oye, mira lo que baila, que lo goce la gente, vamos. I am here at the playa in front of the San Juan Hotel. It's cleaner and better than I remember when we lived down there in Las Colinas. I mean in, well, Ocean City I think it was called, Condado. And there's the hotel, and it's through the drone over here too. Got permission to fly it within Class Belt.
Okay. All right. There we go. And this is me. All right. How you doing? All right. There we go.
Muchas gracias a nuestros colegas de Puerto Rico también for being here, for being our hosts. Really appreciate that. All right. So, we have a few more people coming. Do we go things out? So, as I said before, we're going to be translating all the sessions.
Your hometown, and it's a pleasure to be here. I am still new, 8 months on the job at World Council of Credit Unions, and I think I should say I'm still new because I'm still learning. But Pablo asked us to speak, but when your mission is about the member. Right?
She was in Poland
and it's
last
nice
week.
to say, but for me that was both what I had hoped to see and also I think a business differentiator of why in our fundraising, this Ukraine displacement fund that we launched a couple months ago at the Worldwide Foundation, we are very focused on how do you make sure that credit union systems survive and respond to communities over the long haul. And what I learned, just most remarkably, was that roughly 50% of credit unions in Ukraine right now are still operating. The credit union that I met, Anicia, basically would hear about a truck or something, supplies coming into their city. The staff would find out about it, call all the members would show up. In a day and a night, they would have unpacked, repacked medical supplies, distributed them, basically worked hand in hand with local government and civil society to get things done, right? In the middle of war going on and bombs going off. So it was just really an emotional time to hear what they're doing, as well as hosting some of the credit union staff that had been displaced from Mariupol who are now working out of people's apartments and offices to try to figure out where their members are, how they can help them. So I think that's the best of what we do. And then from there I went to Gdansk and met with our Polish National Association and wanted to share an example there because I think it just spawned all these ideas about how do we serve vulnerable individuals, immigrant populations, those who have had some massive crisis or disruption. When I met with the Casa Stepczyka, which is a credit union in Poland that's in the northern area in Gdynia, in a matter of 30 days, they had developed a Ukrainian webpage, hired Ukrainian Polish speakers for their call center, developed essentially an app that allows a Ukrainian refugee to know where to establish membership, how they might qualify for a loan, if they needed housing, all in Ukrainian language. And when they were helping certain families try to identify housing and couldn't find it, rents in Poland right now with 3 million refugees it's hard to find housing. They basically repurposed one of their business premises that the credit union owned and turned it into apartments and flats for a couple of families because they couldn't find them a place to live. So I was really floored. It was small scale, but I was still floored that in 30 days or so, they had 500 Ukrainian members of the credit union, which was just stunning, right? So I share that because I do think that this ability to quickly pivot and to think about business continuity and disaster risk mitigation, all the things that look great and get dust on the shelf, it is the world we live in now, and so putting that into practice and sharing and documenting how we do that is something that I'm really passionate about. The credit unions are doing this, I think, very well in some of the things that I've learned. I spent the last 2 decades, running companies in the Middle East, which are probably some of the most volatile markets in the world, and I had a microfinance company in the West Bank and Gaza and the Palestinian territories, who thrived through 2 intifadas and the latest war in Gaza. And what they always said was, we always, the first call that our customer got was from one of the loan officers, right? Where are you? Are you okay? Can we do anything to help? It wasn't, hi, we're here and your loan payment is due. It was, let me call you, where's your family, how can we help, what can we do? So I think that we're not alone as credit unions, necessarily. I think that the kind of social enterprise, the social business model where double bottom line is really in your DNA is ultimately what's going to succeed in today's world of crisis and a lot of uncertainty. But you know, those examples that I saw last week and just the strength that we have in numbers and being able to mobilize people and mobilize savings and think about savings products that allow people to really weather disruption, that is why I'm excited to be in the role that I'm in. I really think that it's a differentiator and that there's something unique about us as a movement to try to serve those communities, certainly what we've seen in Puerto Rico and I think many other places in the world today.
Thank you so much. So we have
I told you I'm between your drinks. But I had the privilege to do a number of international trips. I went to Macedonia a couple of times and to Kenya a number of times with the World Council.
Unos minutos. Es un placer estar juntos a ustedes aquí en San Juan. Creo que todos estamos de acuerdo que esta convención es un poco más especial que las últimas, porque estamos aquí reunidos por primera vez después de un par de años. City le complace auspiciar esta preciosa recepción y también a la conferencia anual de Inclusiv, cual nos convoca para compartir y aprender mejoras prácticas a medida de ampliar la inclusión financiera y la equidad para todos. City ha tenido una larga alianza con Inclusiv para apoyar a las comunidades desventajadas en los Estados Unidos y City ha tenido la oportunidad de trabajar con Patty y Pablo para el desarrollo de la capacidad de las uniones de créditos. Estamos encantados de que esta convención se lleve a cabo aquí en Puerto Rico, porque también hemos apoyado a la iniciativa de Inclusiv para crecer y fortalecer las cooperativas aquí en Puerto Rico, y el impacto ha sido excepcional.
I just want to give my thanks to everybody in this room who has put together the effort to organize this conference. We tried it in 2020, we hoped for it in 2021, but we made it possible in 2022. So, thank you. And as you all know, an effort like this does not happen from any one person or any one organization. This has really been an incredible effort and an incredible work of love from not just the members of the staff and the board of Inclusiv, but also from our hosts here in Puerto Rico. Así que, now I'm going to say in Spanish, muchas gracias a todos que han puesto el esfuerzo de organizar esta conferencia. En específico, quiero dar las gracias a nuestro comité organizador, que incluye los líderes cooperativistas aquí en Puerto Rico. Hace 3 años, Eddie Alicea se unió a la Junta Directiva como el primer director de Inclusiv, representando Puerto Rico. Hoy tenemos 3 directores de Puerto Rico en la Junta. Este es un símbolo de la importancia de Puerto Rico en el movimiento cooperativista en los Estados Unidos. Yo tengo el gran honor de presentarles buena noche a los tres. I was just going to say that 3 years ago, we first invited or had elected to our board Eddie Alicea as our first director representing Puerto Rico. And today we have 3 board members that represent Puerto Rico, which just demonstrates the importance of Puerto Rico in not just for Inclusiv, but really the cooperative movement in the United States. And we are grateful for their contributions. Así que ahora tengo el gran honor de presentarles hoy noche Eddie Alicea, Aurelio Arroyo y Michelle Santi Pajero.
Bienvenidos. I have difficult to speak in English, but I will try because it's important tonight. I remember our last conference in Los Angeles where Mr. Mary Smith tell us about his dream, how to eradicate poverty. I can sleep well since that night because it must be our mission, how to eradicate poverty. And today, I found the first step. The main problem is that we are sleeping. And Inclusiv at Puerto Rico must be just wake up. Everyone must wake up in Puerto Rico to work together to build a better future for our next generation. Welcome to Puerto Rico. Enjoy the stay. Thank you, Inclusiv, for all the learnings. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Greater impact in terms of actually having that secondary capital in the books. Your credit union can't both be issuer and investor. And also new to the game is that NCUA has given the authority to issue sub-debt with a 2-year pre-approval span. So it's no longer you get approved and you have to issue it in the same year. So just give you a scenario. Your credit union is looking to get $10 million invested in sub-debt. Well, you may develop a plan in your financial projection, your pro forma, that looks at 20 years in terms of how that subordinated debt will actually be leveraged in your credit union. But you actually have 2 years for the issuance of it. So year 1, $5 million that you get, again, because runway is important. And then the second year of your pre-approval, the other $5 million. Again, giving you more time to be able to execute on your plan and putting that less pressure on having to ramp up the earnings to pay that sub-debt back. It's a loan. So also, the treatment of sub-debt. It's treated differently for credit unions based on membership and asset size. The line of demarcation is $500 million in assets. So sub-debt will be contributed to the risk-based capital ratio under risk-based capital rule, but not the statutory net worth ratio. Under $500 million, there's a completely different treatment. And Neil, there's some questions that I was pulling earlier about emergency capital and some of the changes and the implications in terms of asset size. Low-income credit unions, again, membership primarily meeting a certain low-income threshold. The sub-debt will continue to contribute towards net worth, similarly to how secondary capital was prior to the stroke of midnight. So it's discounted differently now. Boy, as I said, change is the only constant in life. This is one of those changes that's going to really require you to do some soul searching and looking at how your credit union is going to deploy new initiatives. Before, secondary capital would be reduced by 20% in the final 5 years of the principal amount that you borrowed. But NCUA, in their glorious wisdom, now the discounting in terms of the amount that's treated as regulatory capital is based on the balance. Significant implications. And these will be illustrated This might be a little small for some of you who are in the back, but we're going to make sure you get a deck and actually understand this. So, Amanda, when you got secondary capital, you were able to consider, $1 million investment. And you had that writing for you, 5 years, I'm talking about a 10-year term. And it was good, full impact. And then in the final 5 years, you start to discount it. So that $1 million becomes 800,000, 600, 400, 200,000 as you repay it. And again, the treatment, 80%, 60%, 40%, 20%. Why do I point this out to you? It's really important because when you look at the way it's now structured, is that 800,000 is now only going to impact your net worth by 640,000. Big change, huh? Big change. So your trajectory now has to change. When you took that out, that $1 million, boy, you had all that, and you could then glean from that, understanding that it was going to be 800,000, not knocking you down to only 64% of the actual amount that you, of the original investment. That's substantial. And I point that out to you because in your planning for subordinated debt, you want to really understand the impact it's going to have on your balance sheet. So it might change up either the term you're looking to borrow or the amount, so that again, you get the biggest bang for that debt.
So just one question on that. So I guess I didn't understand that. That's a new point that I didn't realize. So before, if you borrowed $1 million, the last 5 years it was 800,000, 604. Now it's 80% of the remaining balance. So 80% of 800,000 then.
Right, okay. Which is exact. So 640,000, 300. I'll read the numbers out for you so you can really understand the before and now. It's the difference between having 800,000 in year 5 to now 640,000. 600,000 to now only 360,000. And it goes on. I mean, the biggest difference looking in year 8, 200,000 is now only going to impact your balance sheet, your net worth by to the tune of $40,000.
So as a follow-up to that question, when we were looking at some sub-debt, we're a buyer or investor in it, but it's like, we were trying to figure out if credit unions were going to basically pay off and reissue sub-debt after year 5. I guess that's more incentive to do so after year 5 because the capital treatment really goes off a cliff.
Great point. I'm glad you actually brought that up. Yes, credit unions really need to look at their strategy for subordinated debt. More along the lines of an investment than you've ever done before. It's not just a loan any longer. And so the point that's being made here is when you get to that year 5, now you have to go and say, hey, the money is due, but the impact on the balance sheet is not as substantial. What else do we have on the drawing board that we need to actually get an investment for? So you go back, but you've already gone through it. And like Amanda and a couple of other credit unions that have done it before, hey, once you've gone through this process, it's much easier the next time around. And we're going to talk about how Inclusiv and our technical assistance is going to make it that much easier to actually get through this process. So thank you for bringing that up. So the impact of Inclusiv subordinated debt, it's largely designed to support your credit union's expansion of your community development initiatives. It's about innovation. And credit unions have been at the forefront of innovating. Talking what Pablo mentioned, crises. Always not running from crises, but running toward the crisis. And I have a belief, if you run from a battle, you qualify for captivity. That's just it. You turn your back on it, don't think that someone else, and it might be another credit union that doesn't necessarily have your community, DNA, thinking about the person instead of the profit. So you always want to make sure you're positioning yourself for what's going to be coming up. But we're talking about increasing market engagement and strengthening and developing the CDCUs. It's a catalyst for financial growth and financial inclusion. And lastly, because I'm a tool guy, I am an absolute tool guy. My wife can't stand it, but We go through this thing. If she can go to Michael's and Hobby Lobby, I can go to Harbor Freight and Home Depot. You know, so I get the alert thing, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, I gotta go get a tool. Well, secondary capital subordinated debt, this is your ALM tool. It's a resource. Don't be afraid of it. And don't wait until the last minute to explore it. Please dip your toes in it. Take it for a ride. See exactly how it works. You'll be happy you did. So impact.
Many annual conferences for Inclusive. She worked tirelessly on behalf of small credit unions and was an all-around amazing person. She was a true believer in the credit union movement, of motto of people helping people. Her loss is especially hard for the many credit unions she helped during her career and all those who knew her and admired her. I ask for a moment of silence in recognition of the incredible work of these two amazing women.
Which allowed us to give these small credit unions additional funding to help support their travel as well as their hotel. In addition, in honor of Valerie Harrison, we have named a scholarship in her honor for a faith-based credit union to attend the conference. If I could have the credit unions that received a scholarship to stand this year, stand. We are so excited that you are here this afternoon. We're going to give you a little time to eat your lunch, and then we are going to get started with the Annie Vamper Award celebration. Thank you.
Chinese Americans, but then also a lot of Korean Americans, and a lot of South Asian living in the Flushing area also. And then the rest will be more Hispanic, and then white and African American. But it's very diverse, you know. So we want to be able to kind of like do a model where we could like, you know, help everybody. And then, you know, so yep. Brian's been like helping us, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
worked out.
Giving us a lot of encouragement, you know?
Yep.
Said I'll never get your blessings till the day I die. The answer is no. Why gotta be so rude? Don't you know you won't do? Why gotta be so rude? Oh, marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway. Marry that girl. No matter what you say. Marry that girl. Why not be so?
Oh, did I get in your way? Not at all. ¿Cómo se llama el grupo? De la manga. De la manga. De la manga. Okay, all right. But also understands the credit. It's a hard little. Yeah. I mean, so much in a Spanish-speaking world, I don't even realize what language I'm speaking sometimes. Get my last one. I think it's closing down. Hello. That's okay, Ed.
No special.
change the pace here.
Randy started that. He's a troublemaker.
Oh wow!
Let's change the pace one more time.
I'm not gonna call him. I just had Cliff on WhatsApp. I could show him all around. It was
Live.
Yeah, it was.
What
great.
he's missing?
Yeah.
Why isn't he here?
He had a health issue. He canceled his flight. He was worried, I think, about COVID. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, when I was young, I don't know.
I understand that.
Right. How's your husband doing?
He's good. He's home with the kids.
Okay. All right.
We were here all weekend. We went to El Yunque Rainforest. We went snorkeling in Vieques.
Oh, yeah.
And then they left yesterday morning. Kate had a baseball game. They've got school.
Oh,
I'm going to the field, the site visit on Thursday.
I am
and then I'll go back on Friday.
I'm going on
11:30 on Friday.
Sagrada Familia, yeah. Yeah, on Delta.
Oh, I'm on JetBlue.
Right?
I'm on JetBlue.
Oh, good luck with that.
We got here. That's all that matters.
All right.
I don't care if I get back.
All right. Was it okay?
Yeah, we had a great trip. Everyone's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, we almost lost into Terry's territory in Westchester.
What?
We almost lost you to Terry's Radican's territory in Westchester. Good for you.
I like to visit there, but I don't want to live there.
Well, we have to get together too. I mean, you're so close. All right. How old are you? What grade are your kids in now?
5th and 8th.
Both?
5 and 8.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Is it? Are you still teaching them at home or not?
No.
No, of course not. Where are they going?
So Caden is at a charter school called Brooklyn Prospect.
Okay, charter school.
And my older one is actually at a specialized school for kids with dyslexia in Manhattan.
Okay.
Called Winston Prep.
Winston Prep, okay.
And he's doing very well. Before that, they were at the Brooklyn. Khalil was at the Brooklyn Free School, which is the most progressive school you can get and still be in school.
Cool. All right.
And I'm still on the board of that because it was life-changing for us.
Wow.
And I did not want to homeschool anymore.
Yeah, I don't think. I was so impressed that you're doing that.
I'm glad I could.
Yeah, right.
And some states are very restrictive on what you can do.
Right.
And luckily New York is very progressive, right?
DeSantis notwithstanding.
Huh?
DeSantis notwithstanding.
No, who? Oh, God.
I know it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to hear politics. No politics. Sorry.
New York is okay.
Okay. Right. All right. Well, Luis and I will come and we'll connect up with Luis.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Are you going to Old San Juan tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Chris Cooley.
Oh, yeah.
He invited me out to dinner.
Oh, you can talk shop.
What?
You can talk shop.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Sounds good. All right.
How's it going?
Disfruta la que esta es la última, nos vamos con esta. Enjoy, this is the last one. Mucha espina, poca rosa y poca cosa. Dicen que soy lo peor que te ha pasado. Pero te pico embrujado. Mucha espina, poca rosa y poca cosa. Dicen que soy que te tengan mala suerte. Que secuestramos tu mente. Mucha espina, poca rosa y poca cosa. Dicen que soy hechicera, paquetera, que sea lo que quiera.
Another friend here is making a lot of noise. How you doing? Yeah, you. Yeah, hello. Yeah. Birds up there too. You doing okay? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, bye. Well, I was just typing on my computer and he came over, wanted attention. Yeah. And this bird wants attention. Yep, she keeps yelling. Yeah, there you are. Okay, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? There you go. Maybe you don't like to be wrapped up like that. I don't know. This is my breakfast here. And I had great coffee, one of the best. I made it. And they have wine. Little bottle. I said, no, it's fine. And I'm working. We got the cat. 2 dogs, and he just let the bird out onto his shoulder, and now the bird's happy. It was really squawking. Okay. Okay, better picture here. Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. There you go. That's right.
For remarks from Cheryl Gladstone, who leads the Community Development Finance Group at Deutsche Bank.
Head of the Community Development Finance Group at Deutsche Bank. Hello from New York. Inclusiv has been a longtime partner of Deutsche Bank. We first discussed this program to facilitate capital obligation investments to Puerto Rican financial cooperativas in 2018. We are thrilled today to announce that we've received approval to make the first capital obligation investment through Inclusiv to the cooperativa sector in Puerto Rico, which will go to Jesus Obrero. This has been years in the making and truly will be a significant investment for Deutsche Bank. We've previously supported Inclusiv's work in Puerto Rico through grants and are now excited to make our first investment to fund the capital obligations to Jesus Obrero. This will enable Jesus Obrero to continue its work promoting financial inclusion, particularly related to recovery and resiliency following Hurricane Maria. Thank you so much to the many individuals and organizations that brought us together to this point, including Inclusiv. Our group, Deutsche Bank's Community Development Finance Group, our mission is to invest in organizations to achieve positive outcomes for low and moderate income communities, including communities of color in the United States. And we recognize the importance of the work being done by the cooperativas in Puerto Rico to promote financial resilience and inclusion across the island. Lastly, I want to note that we'll be making this investment from a program within the Deutsche Bank Americas Foundation called the New Initiatives Fund. We hope that this investment catalyzes other investors into the space and more money to support the impactful work that the cooperativas are doing in Puerto Rico. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Felt like, okay, this is the framework for us. We're going to follow this, and this is going to help us fill in any of those gaps that we have. And really, that's what we did. We didn't ever do.
And the reason I say why not is because if there's Hispanics in your community or within your credit union, somebody needs to serve them. And if you're not doing it, guess who's doing them? The payday lenders. And if we want to avoid that, I think we need to jump on the boat. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people in the room today. But many of the credit union CEOs that I talk to, I tell them, I said, are you servicing Hispanics? And the one answer I get is, I'm not, because there's none in my community. And I ask them, have you looked for them? And they probably haven't. And it's probably because their circle of friends are not Hispanic, or maybe they don't go to the supermarket that caters to the Hispanics. And that's where we need to be. So if they're not coming to you, but you know that they exist, you need to be going to them. You need to be going to those supermarkets. You need to be knocking on doors, seeing, where is it that the Hispanic community is at. The Latinos are very trustworthy, and once they come to you, they're gonna continue. I don't have an option. I'm in the border. My membership there, it's about 90% Hispanic. So I don't have to look for them. But even at that, I have to serve them, and I need to serve them according to their culture. I need to have bilingual staff. Someone asked me one time, do you pay your staff more if they know Spanish? I told them, I said, I pay them more if they know English. Because really, I hire a lot of people for their Spanish skills because that's what I need at my credit union. And I know many of you may not have access to Spanish speakers in your community, but I bet you if you run an ad and you have those people come to you, they will. Use their social media, use any means that you can to attract those kind of people. People feel real comfortable to do business with people that look like them. And that's true. I mean, a lot of the African American communities, they serve African Americans because they're coming to them because they look like them. In my case, they come to me because they look like me and they feel very comfortable doing business with people like that. If you see ads right now, ever since DEI came into effect, DEI is one of those that you look at websites now and they're using more Spanish-looking people, they're using more African American, minorities, Asian. You're seeing it more and more. And why is that? I think it's because they want to attract those kind of people. But if they're not going through social media or internet, they have to look for it in your branches. So, asking the question of why are you not juntos? We need to be juntos. And juntos means together. That means as a credit union industry, we need to be together in servicing those people that are not being serviced, or maybe that are being serviced by others. Banks do a really good job with Hispanics also. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, who was represented here, they do a really good job servicing them. And why not be the credit unions? Credit unions are the best solution for the underserved, but they're the best solution also for the Hispanics. So do it, make it a plan, put it on your business plan. It should be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. So in Tennessee, it's great to be
Bill Bynum.
Buenas tardes. Gracias por estar aquí en lugar de la playa. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luis Pastor. I had the privilege for the last 22 years to be the first CEO of Latino Community Credit Union. We used to be North Carolina. We can say proudly now that we are North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, and South Carolina.
Well, that's amazing. We have been here for the last couple of days, and one of the calls to action that I think we can all resonate with is now is the time to be bold. I think that's the new hashtag for this conference. But during the last couple of days, we've talked a lot about CDCUs as financial services. While that's emerged as a key differentiator during the pandemic, the sad reality is that many of the communities that we serve live under.
This is the final reception or cocktail. Look at that tree. Huge. All right. That is a banyan tree, Okay. That is just one tree. It's called a banyan tree. It goes up and up, and I don't think it grew that chandelier, but anyway, here we are. The Inclusiv going away from it. All right. This is the island. This is the song by Madonna about San Pedro. Really an island in Belize. I wonder if I'll get Luisa there.
the cooperativa we're going to be visiting, and a bit about the structure of the site visit, right? Now the town of Naranjito is actually a rural town in the center of the island. It's in the north of the island, so it looks towards the Atlantic Ocean. It has a population of about 29,000 people, and it has several cooperativas there, not only the branch of Sagrada Familia, there is also a branch of another cooperativa called Cooperativa San Miguel, and a branch of, I think Rey Centro has something around that area, I'm not sure. But it is an area that has a strong cooperativa presence, and you will see it when we get there, because cooperativas are masters of branding and marketing. You'll see when you get there. Now Naranjito is known as El Pueblo de los Changos, which is one of my favorite birds. But it's El Pueblo de los Changos because of their awesome volleyball team. It's like one of the most successful sports franchises in Puerto Rico. And by God, you know, if you go into Naranjito and they ask you what's your favorite volleyball team, you better say Los Changos, or you'll be kicked out. So please don't make me enter into a negotiation there. I'm tired enough as it is. So please, Los Changos is your team for the purposes of this site visit. Don't get into trouble. Now, Cooperativa Sagrada Familia is a cooperativa that serves around 40,000 members. It is not headquartered in Naranjito. It is headquartered in the town of Corozal. Corozal is also a rural town in the center, more or less in the center of the island. The Sagrada Familia has 5 branches. Some of them, one in Naranjito, one in Corozal, but they also have a presence in the metropolitan area of San Juan and Bayamon and Guaynabo. So it's funny and interesting that even though they do have a presence in the metropolitan area, they've decided to leave their headquarters, you know, in their town, and it's a beautiful place. But that will be for another conference. Maybe we'll get to see that cooperativa and other cooperativas. Now the cooperativa serves 40,000 people. It has $275 million in assets. So it is in the top tier of cooperativas in the island. And like many cooperativas, it has had an explosive growth after Hurricane Maria. I remember when I started working at Inclusiv, they had like 180 million in assets. So it's been like 100 million in less than 2 or 3 years. So, you know, there are reasons that you all know, but it's still it's considered a big growth for the cooperativa. Now, where we're visiting is the Naranjito branch. But what's interesting is after Hurricane Maria, and they will talk to you about this, so I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but after Hurricane Maria, Sagrada Familia decided to buy a lot in the area where their branch in Naranjito is and build a resiliency center there called the Oasis. Now the purpose of the resiliency center is to serve as a community center, place of gathering, place of supplies, place to get electricity, water, food in case of a natural disaster. And of course, I'll tell you a bit more about what they're doing, but it is the only center of that nature run by a cooperativa in Puerto Rico. Actually, the center was recently designated a macro community hub by the government of Puerto Rico, so they're authorized to store and distribute supplies in the case of an emergency. I won't talk any more about it, you'll see it. There's still some things that are pending, and it also works as a place for education. Now, Sagrada Familia also has a small business incubator program for their small entrepreneurs, and you'll see they have a particular tradition when it comes to their communities. Now, I neglected to say this on the last tour. I think I said on the first. For those of you that don't know the main differences between the cooperativa system and, say, a federal credit union, there are several distinctions, but the most important ones are: first, for you to become a member of a cooperativa, a bona fide member of a cooperativa, you're expected to make contributions to your share account every month. Those contributions vary depending on the cooperativa, and those contributions go to a restricted share account that then you can actually leverage for a loan, 1 or 2, 3, 4 times the amount, depends. Every cooperativa has their own rules. And if you take a loan with the cooperativa, part of the payment is always a deposit to this restricted share account. So what is great about that is that it promotes savings all the time. So just by going to a cooperativa, you're automatically saving if you want to participate in the benefits of the cooperativa. And on the other end, it creates a strong sense of loyalty. That is why you'll see, if you ask anyone in any of these towns about their cooperativa or cooperativas, because many towns have many cooperativas, it is highly probable that they'll be member of 1 or 2 or 3 cooperativas and have shares on 1 or 2 or 3 cooperativas and feel like they own the cooperativa. And when there's an assembly, they will go to the assembly and they will ask questions. And we've had assemblies with 1,000 members, 500 members. It really depends on the size of the cooperativa, but they are really engaged in the administration of the place. And so that causes some accounting, some interesting accounting issues, because since it's a share account, for purpose of GAAP, it's considered a liability, and we consider it capital, and that's the local law. And so cooperativas follow that law. There's a lot of debate about this and GAAP and all of that, but what I'll say is the cooperative system in Puerto Rico grew parallel to that in the United States and responds exclusively to the needs of the Puerto Rican people. So that was the way it was structured at that point. Now, of course, there are other, considerations to take on, but I need you to understand this, that members are proud of their chairs in the cooperativa. It's a structure that they like, regardless of how that looks on GAAP or on accounting practices. So there's an interesting tension there, and it's a great subject of discussion. I won't discuss it now because we'll soon get into the curvy part of the trip. I want to make sure that I'm sitting down. Any questions? Okay, so, the structure of the trip. So, when we get there, we will be greeted. Well, actually, we'll probably be greeted by cops soon. Not for any bad things. I mean, you don't have anything here you shouldn't have, right? No, I'm kidding. No, the thing is, so they've arranged for an escort. Oh yeah, police escort. Oh yeah, it happens. They're gonna pick us up when we pass through a very famous bridge here that's called the Puente Atirantado. You'll see it. But then when we get there, we'll go in. We will have an early dinner. There, we like to eat. Sorry. And then you eat afterwards. But we'll have an early dinner. The cooperativa president and their board will, talk about the oasis, the concept. There will be a tour. And then after we're done touring the oasis and the branch there, we will get on a bus again and go to the hotel. No, I'm kidding. We'll actually go down the street to the Naranjito Center of Fine Arts, where there will be a cultural activity / concert / Juntos Avanzamos proclamation ceremony / cocktail. So I hope you have nothing to do tonight, because it's going to be great. Now, at any point, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much. Enjoy the ride. Some VIP here I don't know or something. Oh, we have a new board member, Luis. Ya tenemos una escolta y todo.
Also, I'd like to recognize Chalanda Baker.
Doug Harper from NCUA.
Right in the office, recognize Ms. Mabel Jimenez, the COSEC Director. Also to recognize a friend, Juan Fernandez, CEO from Cooperative Association of Mexico. This is our board of directors. As you can see, it's a mix of young people and people with experience.
The biggest Tara Harper's over there.
Our board, chairman of the board, Diana is secretary, Carlos is director, Julita Garcia is also director, Israel, director, Manuel, director, and Fernando is also director.
Yo soy Sofía, la agricultora de las gallinas de raza y de mi huevo. Yo siempre vengo a la Sagrada Familia a depositar los huevitos. Yo siempre traigo a mi gallinita Pintis porque ella siempre pasea conmigo y siempre la llevo aquí y vendo los huevos. Y mis huevos son de colores y son muy frescos. Yo la alimento con un maíz súper fresco porque los huevos son así de colores. En mi casa tengo 30 gallinas. Tengo pavos, gansos, patos, chiriquiqui, callo y gallinas.
Pero si me dicen eso,
Yo soy Sofi y mi apellido es Sofía Michelle Manuel González y como saben yo soy agricultora porque a mí de cuando yo era niña a mí me gustaban las gallinas.
I am a farmer, and I'm a farmer because when I was younger, I really liked chickens.
Y porque mis gallinas son mis amigas y siempre por la mañana yo recojo los huevos en una canastita.
And because chickens are my friend, and every morning when I wake up, I pick up your eggs and put them in a small basket.
Y a ella le gusta el maíz porque a ella le gusta comer todo.
And you know, I give them corn because they like to eat everything.
Y ellas son buenas porque ellas no pican porque son mis amigas porque no pican. Y yo siempre la sobo y ella me dice todo.
These chickens are my friends, and they're my friends because they don't bite. And I'm able to caress them and touch them, and I love it when they say, "Corococo."
Y voy a sacar mi gallinita Pinky para que la conozcan y para que ustedes la vean.
And I'm going to show you my friend Chicken Pinky so that you can get to meet her and see her.
Su nombre es Pintita porque de chiquita era blanquita, pero miren cambió de color.
Her name is Piquita that because when she was small, she was white, but then when she grew, she changed colors.
La llamé Pintita porque ella es marroncita por la cabecita y por aquí es rosita como crema.
So I call her Pintita because in the head she's kind of brown, but then when you go down, she's kind of beige.
Ah, y el precio de los huevos son a 4 y la docena es de $4 y el cartón es a 10.
So prices are
Y los chamitos van aquí a la Sagrada Familia.
and my money is deposited in La Sagrada Familia.
Something else in uniform, also teacher on the board, family. I gotta say that. She's our youngest entrepreneur.
That's Don Harper, head of NCUA over there.
Okay,
Right
so
there.
number 6, we will soon be heading out.
Are we getting a police escort going downhill now?
No.
Hey, there we go.
Cautious. I would feel real bad.
Candela, 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 candela. Ay, ya llegan los Ayala, Rule, ay, ya llegan los Ayala, Rule, ay, no que los Ayala, Rule, ay, no vamos por la mañana, Rule, ya llegan los Ayala, 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 Rule, ay, no vamos por la mañana, Rule. Esta es la bomba que estoy buscando y los Ayala la están tocando. Esta es la bomba que estoy buscando y los Ayala la están tocando. Ay, esto es bomba, esto es cultura, mueve los pies, mueve la cintura. Esta es la bomba que estoy buscando y los Ayala la están tocando. Ay, baila bomba, ay, mueve bomba. Esta es la bomba que estoy buscando. Esta es la bomba que estoy buscando y los Ayala la están tocando. Esta es la bomba que estoy buscando y los Ayala la están tocando. Buenas noches, Naranjito. Buenas noches. Este es el ballet folclórico Hermanos Ayala de Loíza y Puerto Rico. Este es el ballet folclórico más antiguo en el género La Bomba en Puerto Rico. Nosotros llevamos 63 años llevando la bomba por todas partes de Puerto Rico y el mundo. Buscamos como que yo te quiero saciar, como oyendo yo te aspiré esa noche. Avanza, búscame el coco, que yo te quiero saciar. Quiero agua de coco. Ay, coyote, ¿dónde está? Coyote, búscame un coco, que yo te quiero saciar. casualidad. Ven por allá María Luisa, síganla. Que esa negra tiene, que esa negra tiene, que ahí sí que hay, que yo te diré de esta manera. María Luisa, no te amarás. Llévame contigo para la playa de la Boca. María Luisa, no te amarás. Llévame contigo para la playa. María Luisa, no te amarás. Llévame contigo para la playa. ¡Sabor!
Licenciado René Vargas, director de la red Inclusiv Puerto Rico, que me acompañen al podio, así como al presidente de la Junta de Directores y al presidente ejecutivo de la institución para presenciar este emotivo momento.
Muchas gracias. Buenas noches. Uy, that was incredible, wasn't it? I'm not gonna dance, no worries. So Juntos Avanzamos is framework, a framework that Inclusiv did not create. We did help improve it. But basically it's a financial inclusion framework to help us, credit unions serve Latinos, serve immigrants. And it's a framework that has worked very well for credit unions in the US. What we didn't know is that it could also work here in Puerto Rico. And you may wonder why? Why? Everyone speaks Spanish here, right? So why do this in Puerto Rico? So Puerto Rico has a very large Dominican population. There's also a big Haitian population, and many of these communities are actually undocumented. So there's a clear need, right, for us, for the cooperativas here, to understand the need in the community and to act accordingly, to really do what we saw today, this morning, and what we have seen all afternoon with Sagrada Familia, is that everyone in the community matters, even the rooster. Lo voy a decir en español ahora. Estamos muy contentos de estar acá esta noche. Este galardón de Juntos Avanzamos es un programa, en realidad es una designación que mi organización entrega a instituciones financieras, a cooperativas y credit unions que atienden el mercado hispano. Obviamente aquí en Puerto Rico ustedes se preguntarán por qué, si todos hablamos español, ¿no? Pero sí hay una comunidad que está desatendida, y esa es la comunidad inmigrante. Tenemos muchos hermanos dominicanos o haitianos que no son parte del sistema financiero. Y como vimos esta mañana y ahora en la tarde con lo que nos ha mostrado Sagrada Familia, es que cada integrante de la comunidad importa. Cada integrante de la comunidad merece un lugar dentro de la cooperativa y dentro de ese contexto queremos realmente agradecerle a Eddie Alicea, a todo su equipo, a sus directores, realmente por este compromiso con la comunidad, por este compromiso con la inclusión financiera y especialmente en el caso de Eddie quiero recalcar su visión, recalcar su espíritu, ¿cierto?, de innovación, de entender que podemos ser mucho más que una institución financiera. Eso es lo que es un CDFI, un CDCU, es que no estamos solamente en el negocio de darle préstamos a la gente, estamos en el negocio de empoderar a la gente. Como nos mostró Sofía, eso comienza desde pequeñito. ¿Se imaginan a Banco Popular haciendo eso? ¿Jamás? Eddie, realmente cada vez que venimos a Puerto Rico salimos más empoderados, nos sentimos realmente emocionados por lo que ustedes hacen acá, estamos aprendiendo tanto de ustedes, venimos a enseñar y salimos aprendiendo. ¿Qué tal? Te felicito por tu liderazgo y por tu visión y por lo que tu equipo ha hecho por la comunidad acá. Y con eso voy a darle la pasada a mi colega René para que...
Gracias, Pablo. Pablo es muy difícil de seguir. Me he acostumbrado con los años. Pablo is very hard to follow. I've gotten used to it in the past years, but I will try. Para mí es un privilegio estar aquí en este recinto, ¿verdad?, que se ha convertido esta noche en una extensión de la cooperativa La Sagrada Familia. Y me uno a las felicitaciones provistas por Pablo en ocasión de la designación Juntos Avanzamos de esta cooperativa. Y como ya hemos mencionado en los pasados días, cientos de líderes de cooperativas de los Estados Unidos, funcionarios que nos acompañan, muchos de ellos en el día de hoy, líderes de impacto y de fundaciones de los Estados Unidos que también nos acompañan en el día de hoy, se reunieron en San Juan para celebrar la inclusión financiera y muchísimas iniciativas, incluyendo acuerdos de colaboración, apoyo entre cooperativas, posibles acuerdos de colaboración entre reguladores de Estados Unidos y Puerto Rico. Esa fue una noticia muy importante para nosotros. Pero también se reunieron, y nos reunimos en el caso de Puerto Rico, para celebrar la increíble transformación del sistema cooperativo de Puerto Rico, que en los pasados 3 años ha logrado que 77 de sus cooperativas se certifiquen como instituciones financieras de desarrollo comunitario o CDFI. Un logro que hasta el momento no se ha logrado en ninguna otra jurisdicción de los Estados Unidos. Un aplauso para ustedes. Y como consecuencia o resultado, se han logrado canalizar alrededor de $69 millones al sistema cooperativo para expandir sus iniciativas de desarrollo comunitario. Y obviamente estamos muy orgullosos del rol que hemos jugado, pero hoy no vengo a hablar del rol que nosotros jugamos, sino del rol que ha jugado la cooperativa Sagrada Familia en toda esta historia. Yo he tenido el privilegio de trabajar junto a la cooperativa, su mesa directiva y al compañero Eddie W. Alicea Sáez por los pasados 3 años y medio. Primero en su rol como presidente de la Asociación de Ejecutivos de Cooperativas y luego en su rol como el primer presidente de cooperativa, miembro de la Junta de Directores de Inclusiv. Él pasó a ser mi jefe. ¿Claro? Y la realidad es que Eddie sirvió como un promotor principal, la cooperativa La Sagrada Familia también con sus recursos, sirvió como promotor principal de la certificación de muchísimas cooperativas en Puerto Rico y de la participación de las cooperativas en rondas de becas federales. Yo me acuerdo, yo llamaba a Eddie y le decía, mira Eddie, chico, tengo estas cooperativas que no me contestan y yo tengo una beca que les quiero dar para que se certifiquen y luego participen de la ronda. Y él, claro que sí, René, y él llamaba y nos ayudaba a poder contactar esas cooperativas. Pero les voy a hacer una anécdota antes de pasar a hablar en inglés. Y fue una anécdota que verdaderamente me dejó saber de lo que se trata la cooperativa La Sagrada Familia y los valores que representan a la cooperativa. y cómo la cooperativa apoya el cooperativismo en Puerto Rico y trasciende la labor que hace con ustedes como socios, que es muy importante y que todos nosotros apreciamos. Nosotros hace 3 años, Pablo, ¿verdad? 3 años, ¿verdad? Estuvimos buscando ayuda para poder expandir nuestras iniciativas en Puerto Rico y poder ayudar a más cooperativas a desarrollar la capacidad para recibir fondos federales. Y tuvimos una reunión en la ciudad de Nueva York a la cual asistió el señor Licea, asistió representación de la Asociación de Ejecutivos de Cooperativas, también participó el señor Ariel Arroyo, la señora Yolanda Rodríguez, y varios varios representantes de fundaciones de los Estados Unidos. Y durante esa reunión, ¿verdad?, se habló acerca del impacto del huracán María y de cómo las cooperativas habían logrado ayudar a sus comunidades cuando las comunidades más lo necesitaban. Y yo recuerdo que ese día la cooperativa Sagrada Familia, que estaba representada por el presidente y por Yolanda, habló sobre cómo había sido la experiencia aquí, ¿verdad?, en Corozal, en Naranjito y en las otras sucursales de la cooperativa. Y fue un momento muy emotivo, una catarsis. Todo el mundo empezó a ayudar a la gente que ni sabía, ¿verdad? Estaba en Puerto Rico. Todos empezamos a llorar allí. Y me recuerdo que esa misma tarde nos invitaron a comer. Estaba por ahí. ¿René está aquí? René, levántate un momento, por favor. Vamos a aplaudir a René. René es vicepresidente de, no sé cómo se dice en español, René, Giving. De la fundación. Vicepresidente de la Fundación Prudential. Y también Lili López, que no sé si está por aquí el día de hoy, pero tú, ¿verdad? Fue Lili, ¿verdad? Gracias a esta reunión decidieron invertir sustancialmente en nuestras iniciativas en Puerto Rico y como consecuencia pudimos ayudar a 36 cooperativas a certificarse como CDFI, habiendo ya la cooperativa Sagrada Familia sido certificada porque fue la primera CDFI en Puerto Rico.
From Inclusiv, Juntos Avanzamos, Proclamation honoring Cooperativa La Sagrada Familia. Whereas Cooperativa La Sagrada Familia has embraced the credit union philosophy of people helping people by fostering a strong relationship with its Latino community, and whereas Cooperativa La Sagrada Familia has compassionately responded to the needs of its Latino community, providing positive financial security and opportunity in all respects. And whereas Cooperativa La Sagrada Familia is taking great strides in providing its underserved market with friendly and affordable financial services. And whereas Cooperativa La Sagrada Familia is reaching out to a segment of the population to demonstrate the far-reaching personal and financial benefits of a relationship with a non-profit credit union, and whereas Cooperativa Sagrada Familia serves as an inspiration to all, now therefore let it be known that Cooperativa Sagrada Familia has earned the prestigious distinction of being a Juntos Avanzamos credit union. Inclusiv, the Cornerstone Credit Union League and the Asociación de Ejecutivos de Cooperativas de Puerto Rico recognize and applaud Cooperativa La Sagrada Familia and proudly call you out together with advanced credit unions. Felicidades.
Juega con ella si el sol empieza a alumbrar. El cumpleaños ruiseñor anunció ya la mañana que sus colores derrama cuando se despierta el sol. Canción de los carreteros se escucha en la lejanía, allá por la serranía donde vive mi ilusión. Canción de los carreteros escucha la lejanía, allá por la serranía, donde vive mi ilusión. Cantan lelolay, lelolay, lelolay. Por siempre vivirá Guaymaná, en mi tierra nació y en ella por siempre vivirá Guaymaná. La corriente arrastra oro, la corriente está ensangrentada, el río Manatuabo el de la leyenda dorada. La corriente arrastra oro, la corriente está ensangrentada, en donde hundió la arboleda su raíz en tierra dorada. La corriente arrastra oro, la corriente está ensangrentada, donde doblo la frente india, bien sea tierra o bien sea agua, bajo el peso de las cadenas, entre los hierros del largato. Allí la tierra hiede a sangre, corre el agua ensangrentada, donde el blanco pobre sufrió los horrores de la peonada, el machete del mayoral, la libreta de jornada. Allí la tierra hiede a sangre, la arboleda está ensangrentada, donde el negro quebró sus hombros, bien sea tierra o bien sea agua, y su cuerpo marcó el carimbo y abrió el látigo su espalda. Allí la tierra está maldita, la arboleda está ensangrentada. Pa 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 pa. Esas manos taínas porque trabajaba. Gloria a esa mano blanca, porque trabajaba. Gloria a esa mano negra, porque trabajaba. Entre esa mano nos salió la patria. Gloria a las manos que las minas excavaron. Gloria a las manos que el ganado cuidaron. Gloria a las manos que el tabaco, que la caña y el café nos sembrarán. Gloria a las manos que los caminos trabajaron. Gloria a las manos que la rueda giraron. Gloria a todas las manos de todos los hombres y mujeres que trabajaron. Y gloria a las manos, a todas esas manos que hoy trabajan, porque ellas construyen y saldrá de ellas nuestra nueva patria liberada.
Buenas noches, familia. Gracias por todo su amor. Dios los bendiga y sigan. No queda de otra, seguir para adelante siempre, con mucho amor en el corazón, por nuestra patria, por nuestra familia.
Alabado.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Come on. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. God, I didn't mean to make that noise. She likes the bread. I gave it there. Just finishing it up. There you go. I know it's got a little bit more in there. Okay, there you go. All right. Nobody knows the name, but I'm saying goodbye to Bird. Yeah, saying goodbye to Bird. Yeah, it's me. Yeah. We had fun together, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah, it's me. Okay. Bye. Bye, Bird. Yeah.